Alright guys, let's talk about today's trades. It was particularly difficult today, but I want to go over the trades in a video because Vasily and I did it at the end of the day, and I wanted to talk about a couple things. Alright, first thing I want to talk about is ranges. So here's a backside right here, and a front side, and well, two back sides maybe, and a little doji front side. And what I want you to visualize is if we drew this area from the backside to the break level, this is our range. Okay, so our entry, in my opinion, should be at the backside because that gives you the biggest bounce. And the exit needs to be just past the break level. And you've got to determine before price returns to this area, how much risk is that? And in this case, I'm going to say 6 points. Are you willing to take 6 points of risk to be in this trade? Now, you could say, I want to go for a greedier level and be here in the middle and change your risk profile appropriately. Of course, you risk a couple things. Number one, you risk not being in the best part of the bounce. Okay, you risk missing the trade. So those are two big things you risk if you decide I want a greedier entry. My opinion is we should be looking at this range, realizing our entry should be at the backside, our exit should be past the break level, and this is our range of risk. Now, at 6 points, are you going to do 5 ESs? Probably not. Could you do one MES? That's $30 potential loss with one. 2 of them is $60. 3 of them is $90. What's your max risk in a trade? Do the math, figure out how you should be entering that trade. So, look at your entries as more of a range. So here's the levels Vasily and I picked out, and we talked about them. And just because we draw the level doesn't mean you need to be in that trade. For example, let's look at this particular range of a trade. That's a big old box. How much risk are we talking about? We're talking 10 points. This might be a trade you don't want to be in. It's okay. You can either skip it or give yourself still the best odds of entering a trade and enter at the backside. And in my opinion, you should allow one extra bounce level and have your out above that extra bounce level. So in this case, your exit would be, so you're 4.5 points away, could be in a stop loss, and you'd have one extra layer of protection. Okay, now I made this decision earlier today in a trade, and it was this trade right down here. Let me zoom here. So what I did is I knew I had a backside there and I had a front side here. Let me turn on my trades. Is that where I did that? Nope, that is not where I did that. Let's go over here where I did do it. I did it on this trade. I entered with half size here, knowing I would add half size here. Is that where I did this? Gee, sorry guys, I'm feeling I got too many lines on there. But here's the thing. So here, if you were going to do this strategy of, hey, 10 points is too much, but I'm willing to take 5, and I'm willing to let that be 2 MESs, but maybe you enter one here and you enter one here, and then your exit is above it. I did that a couple times today where I entered at different levels with different size of entry. I do want to look at this. I thought I had a thing that had 2 arrows. Okay, I think... Here's this trade. I get what I did now. So... Let me turn these back on real quick so I can get my entry there and then there. Okay. So I entered here with half size, and then I entered here with my other half size. Let me turn on my trades again. Yep. So I entered here. Now this is a questionable level. One of the things that I want to have a discussion with myself tonight, this is a 1 candle peak. Do I really want to be entering on 1 candle peaks? Or do I need to stick with the 3? So it was a little tricky because it's not as clean here with this white candle. Does that white candle negate all of these levels here? Well, judging from the price action, it does. So the appropriate entry would have been here. Not this 1 candle that was blocking these backsides, but this is the first untested candle. So in my opinion, this candle right here tested all of these. It tested all those because that's the range of this candle. All right, so let's go back and look at the trades again. Let me squish this up. So here's the trades Vasily and I thought should be here. So up here in this very first, we had a backside and front side. Price clearly went away. It came back and bounced off that front side. And I'm pretty sure I entered that trade. Yep, I entered that trade. Then price came down. Now, these 2 candles clearly, on this candle, if I'm to extend this, clearly cleared this level before coming back. But I want to look at this candle and let's have a discussion here. This candle is basically 7 points. The break is 9. Got to be past that, 10 points. I don't think any of us wants to take a 10-point gamble on an entry. So what I did is I decided to enter at the backside. And the reason why I did that is because I had another bounce level right below it, and then I had another bounce level right below it, and I mentally I was going to have my stop under here. Well, what did price do? It came down, touched it, and rebound. So that one was a profitable trade, even though I did not have 2 candle separation. I just said if I'm going to enter this trade, it needs to be here because I have 2 bounce levels right underneath me. This candle's way too big for me to be entering. I did not draw any levels here for entry because I don't think anyone would have taken that trade. And if you were going to take this huge candle trade, would you take it at the wick? Because then if you do, to have the appropriate stop loss, it's 10 points. I don't think you're going to do that. If you come here and said, hey, I'm only going to enter on the base, which happened to be a great trade, you'd have a 7-point stop loss. So I didn't mark it. I thought the range was too big for most of us to be entering. But I did enter on the front side for the reasons I said. 2 bounce levels were immediate. Okay, price goes up, price goes down, price goes up, price goes down. Clearly, we have this range here. I took the backside. I'm pretty sure I took it. Did I? Yep. I did it with 10 MESs actually. So I took the backside, and now because this backside bounced, I know when the front side gets challenged, I'm going to take that trade as well. Did I take that trade? Actually, I didn't. I must have been eating lunch. That makes sense to me. So now we have a valley. Could you have entered here? Once again, How big of a risk is that if you were going to use the break level? 12, 13 points. I don't know if it's worth meriting entering this. If you did enter this trade, you're going to just set an arbitrary stop loss, and where do you want to get out? Did I enter this trade? I sure did. And that was a loss for me. It was not a smart trade to enter. But if I kept my losses small on it, because you got that big distance, this would have been a greedier entry that made a little more sense as far as distance here. Where's that? 6 points. That just might be one singular MES. That's okay. You got a nice bounce. Then price come up into this region. Now, is this a level or not? I don't think we have two candles. It might be really close. But you could definitely say, hey, this was a level. But even if you did this short, in my opinion, if you did this short, you are willing to take the risk of the break level. How far is that break level? What's your risk tolerance? How many contracts should you enter? If you entered on the greedier level. So, not sure you had candle development there, but either of those trades would have worked if your stop was above the break level. Then price came down, price went up, 2 candles, bounced off this backside, bounced off this backside, bounced off this backside. Very interesting to note, and I want you to start seeing that when it bounces off the backside, you can feel confident you can take the rest of the backsides. So price went down. We had level development here, came up, touched it, bounced, came down to this single candle, but it touched it and bounced. And for the rest of the day, there really wasn't anything. I took a couple trades over here, but not a whole lot. So the morning was definitely the best session to trade. There was many great levels to trade, and not one of them would you have entered and been taken out because price breached the break level. Not one of them. All right.